started small like all bad habits do. Her mom would pop by just to say hi, but somehow she always left with a bag of groceries or a borrowed appliance. Her brother needed somewhere to put a few things. Turned out to be a truckload of busted furniture and rusty tools dumped in our outbuildings. I kept stepping over some broken-ass dresser in the barn for 2 months before I finally gave up and shoved it in the woods behind the shed. My name's Eric. I'm 37 years old. I live just outside Knoxville, Tennessee, on about 4 acres I inherited from my granddad. First, I thought it was kind of sweet. Her family was big, loud, full of inside jokes and old stories. Sunday dinners, impromptu bonfires, birthdays every other weekend. It felt like something out of a Hallmark movie until I realized I wasn't part of the family. I was the resource. Her mom had a key to our place. Never asked, just had one. One morning I came out of the shower in a towel and nearly slipped when I saw her in the kitchen making coffee. Didn't even blink. Said she came to check if the freezer in the garage was working because she needed space for meat. Then came the money. Her brother asked if I could help him out. Used that word, help. Said he found a good deal on a used truck. Just needed to borrow $2,800. He was good for it. He was always good for it. Truck broke down within a month. Never saw a dime back. Her sister's kid needed braces. Insurance wouldn't cover it. Next thing I know, my account's down another $2,000 because my wife took care of it. The worst was her parents' well pump going out. Rural property. No pump, no water. She told me, we have to help them. No question. No ask. Just we have to. And yeah, I said yes. Every time. Told myself it was just for now. Told myself it'd even out. That's what you do for family, right? You step up. But slowly, it hit me. We didn't mean me and her. We meant them. They take care of each other. And by take care, they meant I pay for it and keep my mouth shut. I let it slide for too long. Thought love was supposed to look like sacrifice. Thought being the good guy meant saying yes. Then came the birthday trip. That's when it all shifted. So when the birthday trip came around, I was actually excited. First time in months I felt like we were doing something just for us. Cabin in the Smokies, 4 days off work, firewood stacked, fishing gear packed, steaks in the freezer. I was making lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup, when I heard her phone buzz on the counter. She picked it up, smiled, and walked out to the porch. Didn't think much of it until she walked back in and said, all casual, we'll have to cancel the trip. My brother needs a cosigner for an ATV loan. He says it's for work, so of course we'll help. Just like that. No pause. No question. I dropped the spatula. What? She sat down like it was no big deal. He needs the loan to get around the job sites. The banks won't approve him a loan. It's just paperwork. I'll tell the cabin folks we're not coming. I looked right at her. No, we're not co-signing, and we're not canceling my birthday trip. She froze for a second, like I just spit on her mom. Eric, it's not like we're giving him money. We're just helping him get the money. No, I said again. Absolutely not. I'm not getting on the hook for a damn ATV because your brother can't handle his own business. And I've been looking forward to this trip for months. We're going. That's when she gave me that look. Chin tilted, eyebrows tight. I'd seen it before, like I was some outsider who didn't get how things worked. Her voice went flat. My family comes first. Always has. Then she said it, just like that. You're second. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe she said it out loud. Good to know. I went upstairs, grabbed my duffel, started packing. Didn't slam drawers, didn't yell. Just packed. She followed me into the bedroom. You're really gonna act like a child over this? I zipped the bag. No. I'm acting like a man who finally figured out the rules. You said I'm second, so I'm making plans for one. You're overreacting. It's just a trip. No, I said. It was my birthday, my weekend, and you tossed it like trash the second your brother picked up the phone. She didn't follow me downstairs. Didn't say another word. I tossed my bag in the truck, called my buddy Mike, asked if he wanted a last-minute mountain weekend. He said hell yes before I finished the sentence. By the time we hit Pigeon Forge, I'd already ignored 4 calls from her. By the next morning, it was 12. Voicemails, texts, long ones. I didn't open a single one. Mike and I fished, grilled, played cards. Didn't even talk about her. Not once. I laughed harder in those 4 days than I had in the past year. She was probably back home, stewing in that silence. That look she gave me before I left kept flashing in my mind. Like I'd betrayed her. But I hadn't. I just stopped agreeing. Trip ended. I dropped Mike off and drove back slow, windows down, music loud. Not a single part of me wanted to be home. I wasn't dreading a fight. I just didn't care enough anymore to fight back. That scared me a little, but not enough to regret it. I pulled into the driveway, sun already low, engine ticking as it cooled. Her car was there, lights on in the kitchen. I didn't rush inside, just sat there a minute, gripping the wheel, jaw tight. I knew what was waiting behind that door, either silence or hellfire. Turned out to be silence. She didn't say a word when I walked in, didn't ask how the trip went, just glanced at me from the sink, then went back to rinsing something off. I dropped my bag by the stairs and went straight to my office. Next morning, I opened a new checking account, updated my direct deposit, and sat down with the bills. Calculated exactly 50%. Mortgage, utilities, trash, groceries, down to the dollar. Drew a hard line. That's what she wanted, right? To be separate? So be it. Didn't tell her. Just set it all up. 3 days later, her debit card declined at the gas station. She blew through the front door like a storm and charged into my office while I was on a Zoom call. Didn't knock. Didn't care. What the hell, Eric? My card got declined. I hit mute, turned to her. Yeah, it's canceled. Her eyes went wide. Excuse me? You're not on my account anymore. I opened a new one. Her mouth opened, then shut, like she was chewing rocks. How am I supposed to buy anything? I leaned back in my chair. With your money. She stepped forward, hands on her hips. You're being cold. I shrugged. You told me I was second. I'm just giving you what you wanted. Her mouth twisted. This isn't fair. What's not fair is me paying for your entire family while you treat me like a damn ATM. I'm done. You can't just. I can. I cut in. And I did. She stood there, fuming, not used to me holding the line. I didn't flinch. Later that night, I emptied the guest room she used for sewing and crafts, packed her stuff into bins and stacked them neatly in the garage, rolled in my desk, monitors, tool cabinet, hung a do not enter sign on the door, just for good measure. She saw me moving the bins and followed me out. What are you doing? Turning your hobby room into my office. Without asking me? I dropped the last bin. You didn't ask me when you canceled my birthday trip. She blinked hard, like I'd slapped her. I walked past her, back inside, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and popped it open like it was any other Tuesday. She just stood there in the garage, staring at her labeled boxes like she didn't recognize them. From that point on, I started living like I was alone. Made my own meals, took my own truck, slept on the far edge of the bed. Back to her, no words. She'd mumble things here and there. Passive crap like, I guess I'll go to my parents for dinner since there's nothing here. Or, must be nice to not care what happens to people. I never answered, just kept doing my own thing. Some nights I stayed out late working on the truck or went for long drives. Didn't tell her where I was going. Didn't check in. The thing is, it felt better. Like I could finally breathe. She didn't bring up the money again for a while. Probably realized I wasn't bluffing. I didn't make some big speech or try to fix anything. I just drew the line. And this time I didn't move it. I kept up my routine, work, home, quiet dinners alone. She barely spoke to me. The air in the house felt like a stretched rubber band, ready to snap. I didn't care. I'd carved out my space, and I wasn't giving an inch. About a week after the card incident, I heard tires crunching on the gravel. Multiple cars. Doors slamming. Voices. Not casual voices, panicked ones. I stepped out of my office and saw them through the window. Her entire family was marching toward my porch like some kind of rescue squad gone wrong. I opened the door before they could start pounding on it. Her parents looked wrecked. Her mom blotchy and shaking, her dad red-faced and tight-jawed. My wife stood behind them, pale as drywall. And her brother, he looked rough. Lips split. Swollen. Shirt stretched and dirty. He couldn't even look at me. Her mom spoke first. "Eric, honey, we need your help." I crossed my arms. "What now?" Her brother swallowed hard. "I'm in trouble, man." Her dad snapped. "Show him." The brother hesitated, then lifted his shirt a little. Bruises all over his ribs. Ugly ones. Someone had worked him over good. My wife's voice cracked. "It's bad." Her dad stepped forward. "He owes money. $30,000. I stared at them. "To who?" My wife whispered. "A loan shark." Her brother muttered. "I was betting on races. And these poker nights." It got out of hand. I let out a sharp breath. "So you dug yourself a hole and now you want me to fill it?" Her mom burst into tears. "They came to the house. They threatened all of us." Her brother rubbed his face. "They said if I don't pay soon, I might not." He stopped talking, like the rest of that sentence wouldn't come out. My wife stepped closer. "Eric, please. They said he has until the weekend." "No," I said instantly. My wife blinked. "You didn't even think about it." "I don't need to." I pointed at her brother. "You did this. You fix it." Her dad marched right into my space. What kind of man abandons family? I didn't step back. The kind who's told he's second place. That shut him up for half a second. Her mom grabbed my arm. "Eric, he could die." Pulled away. "Sell what you have. Sell everything. He wants 30,000. Try a truck, an ATV, that stupid pool you put in, all those campers and tools cluttering my property. Figure it out like grown adults." Her dad snarled. "You're cold." I shrugged. "No. I'm done being used." My wife stepped forward, eyes wet but hard. "If you don't help him, I'll leave." I didn't even hesitate. "Go ahead." She sucked in a sharp breath, like she expected a fight or a negotiation. There wasn't one. I'd been pushed past every line I used to have. Her brother whispered, "You're serious." "Dead serious," I said. Her dad muttered a curse and started dragging everyone toward the cars. Her mom kept crying, stumbling as she went. My wife stayed behind for a few seconds, staring at me like she didn't recognize who she married. I didn't break eye contact. Finally, she turned and walked off the porch without another word. I shut the door behind them and locked it, not out of fear, just to make a point. Then I went back to my office and kept working like nothing happened. The house stayed quiet after they drove off. Too quiet. By the next morning, her closet was half empty and her toothbrush was gone. She didn't leave a note, didn't text, just left. Fine by me. I grabbed more of her things, clothes, bags, old craft supplies, and boxed them up. Stacked everything along the garage wall where she could grab it without stepping inside. I wasn't playing games anymore. That same day, word started trickling in. Her parents had taken out a second mortgage to cover part of the debt. Her sister sold her camper. Her brother dumped his ATV for pennies. And even after all that, they were still short. Rumors floated around town that he'd skipped out for a while, hiding from the guys who roughed him up. Honestly, it sounded exactly like something he'd do. 3 mornings later, her dad stormed into my office building. I heard him before I saw him, his voice booming down the hall, shouting my name like it was some showdown. He barged into the reception area, pointing at me through the glass. "You coward! You let my boy get hunted." People froze. Phones stopped ringing. I walked out just far enough to be seen, but not close enough to give him something to grab. "Get out," I said. He kept yelling, accusing, spitting ugly words. Security came up fast, grabbed him under the arms, and dragged him out while he kicked the floor and cursed. Everyone watched. I felt my stomach twist. Not guilt, just embarrassment. I hated giving the office something to whisper about. 2 hours later, my phone lit up with calls from relatives I barely spoke to. Great aunts, cousins from Missouri, even an uncle I hadn't seen since I was 12. All of them repeating the same script. "How could you abandon family? What kind of man are you? Her mom had called every single one, spinning her version of things like she was running a campaign. I blocked half of them before lunch. Then, one afternoon after work, I walked out to my truck and saw a long, deep key mark running across the driver's side door. Fresh, aggressive, the kind that's done slow with intention. I didn't need a detective to figure out who did it. Her brother had always been a hothead. The next hit came from HR. They called me into a small conference room, shut the door, and said they'd received an anonymous complaint claiming I'd threatened family members with physical harm. I stared at them, stunned. That never happened. I had to lay the whole mess out. Not every detail, but enough. The money, the pressure, her dad showing up, the loan shark situation, the fact that the family was spinning like a tornado and trying to pull me inside. It felt humiliating, sitting there explaining that I wasn't some violent psychopath, just a guy who finally drew a boundary and pissed off the wrong people. HR believed me, but the damage was done. Word would get around. Workplaces always have a couple people who live for gossip. Driving home that night, I felt the last of whatever patience I had burned off. These people weren't just entitled, they were dangerous in their desperation. And now they were dragging my life through the mud because I said no. When I pulled into the driveway, I didn't even go inside first. I walked to the garage, flipped open another empty box, and started packing the rest of her leftover things. Anything that was hers went in. I wasn't leaving a single crack for her family to crawl through. Couple weeks passed. Quiet ones. No calls, no surprises at work, no more keyed vehicles. I figured the dust had finally settled. Then I got a text from her, new number. Can we meet? Just to talk. Like adults. I didn't answer right away. Let it sit. But part of me wanted to look her in the eye, see if any of this actually got through to her. Maybe she'd grown up a little. Maybe she was ready to own her part. So I said fine. One coffee. Public place. Neutral ground. We met at this little diner off Route 11. The kind with chipped tables and waitresses who've worked there since high school. I got there first, grabbed a booth in the back. She walked in 5 minutes later and brought her mom. Soon as they slid in, her mom leaned forward, voice low but sharp. We gave you everything, Eric. My daughter gave you everything. And you just walked away. I looked straight at her. This was supposed to be between me and your daughter. We're family, she snapped. And you had a duty. I stood up. Nope. I'm not doing this. My wife grabbed my arm. Eric, wait. Please. I didn't sit back down, but I didn't leave yet either. She looked worn out. Eyes tired. Hands trembling just a little. I saw the panic underneath whatever speech she had planned. She said, he's still in hiding. My brother. My parents are behind on the house. My sister's marriage is falling apart. Everything's crumbling. I let it hang for a beat. Then I said, not my circus. Her mouth opened like she had more to say, but I cut her off. You made your choice. You told me I was second. So go be first now with them. I turned and walked out. Didn't pay for my coffee. Didn't look back. Sat in my truck for a second, staring at the windshield. Then blocked the new number. Again. Done is done. About a week after the diner ambush, the divorce papers landed in my mailbox. Thick envelope. Certified. Name stamped across the front like a threat. I brought it inside, opened it at the counter, skimmed through the bold demands in black and white. She wanted half the house, half my retirement, and 10 grand for emotional distress. Claimed I'd financially abandoned her. My lawyer damn near choked when I told him. I had to repeat it twice. Then I sent him the screenshots, the receipts, every Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal transfer that went to her family over the past 3 years. He started building the case before I even finished talking. Day of court, she showed up with a small army. Her parents, her sister, a couple cousins, even her uncle from Florida. They filled 2 rows like it was some family reunion meets courtroom drama. Her lawyer stood up and painted me like some cold-hearted financial tyrant. Said I manipulated money to control her. Said she lived in fear, isolated and dependent. Said I weaponized bank accounts. I almost laughed right there in the pew. Then my guy stood up. Calm. Clean. pulled out a folder thick enough to kill a cat. "1," he said. "Here's a list of bailouts. Car repairs, medical bills, braces, home plumbing, down payments, and gambling debts. All paid by my client. 2. Here's the bank statements showing transfers and withdrawals in her name. 3. Here's a text from the defendant verbatim. Your second. My family comes first." He handed it to the judge like it was a menu. You could feel the temperature drop in the room. Even her own lawyer looked sideways at her like, "You didn't tell me that." The judge didn't waste time. No alimony. No legal fees. The house was to be sold and split. Retirement divided by state law. That was it. No tears. No lecture. Just the sound of the gavel and a few shuffled chairs. Outside the courtroom, her dad waited for me on the steps. Chest puffed out, hands clenched. He barked. "You think you won? You destroyed a family." I didn't respond. I was halfway to my truck when her brother cut me off. "You smug piece of," he said, and shoved me hard in the shoulder. I caught my balance, stepped back once, hands up. "Try that again and we'll both leave in cuffs." Security showed up fast. Pulled him off, told everyone to clear out. The look in his eyes wasn't anger. It was desperation. That whole family was circling the drain, and they knew it. I just wasn't part of it anymore. I got in my truck and drove off, slow and steady. Didn't look in the rear view. That chapter was over. The house went on the market less than a week after the divorce finalized. Price to move. It sold fast. Market was hot and we'd kept the place up. After fees and the split, I walked with about 85 grand. She demanded her half immediately, wouldn't even wait for the wire to hit. Didn't surprise me. Her parents were deep into foreclosure by then, and they needed bailing out again. Probably leaned on her the second she stepped outside the courthouse. I took my half and bought a condo downtown. Small, clean, quiet. No acreage, no outbuildings full of junk. No drop-ins from in-laws with car trouble. Just space that was mine. I furnished it how I liked. All solid pieces. Paid cash. First time in years I wasn't trying to make room for someone else's chaos. Her family fell apart within 2 months. Her parents lost their place and moved in with her sister. Last I heard, that didn't last long. Her sister's husband bailed. Said he couldn't take the stress anymore. They'd been fighting about money since before we split. I just never saw how bad it was till it landed in my lap. Her brother vanished again. Rumor was he skipped town and went south. Something about Texas, maybe Louisiana. Always some new scheme. And her? She's working 2 jobs. One at a local daycare, one delivering food on nights and weekends. I didn't go looking for that info. Someone mentioned it at a gas station like they were delivering town gossip. A few days after I moved in, I got another text. New number again. "You ruined everything." That's all it said. No hi. No how are you. Just blame. I stared at the message for a few seconds. Not angry. Not even surprised. I typed back. "Your family ruined it." I just stopped playing along. Blocked the number. Again. That part of my life was done. I paid enough. A couple weeks after that last text, I brought it up in therapy. Figured I should at least talk through it before I buried the whole thing for good. My therapist looked at me and asked, "Do you feel guilty?" I didn't even hesitate. No, not for a second. Because I didn't do anything wrong. They had an emergency. It just wasn't my emergency. I didn't cause it, I didn't escalate it, and I sure as hell wasn't gonna bankroll the fallout. All I did was stop funding bad decisions. They called it betrayal. I called it boundaries. Big difference. Since the divorce, life's been quiet. And that's exactly how I want it. I've been dating someone new. Nothing serious yet, but it's different. Simple. Easy. No drama. No crying phone calls about a cousin needing rent or a sister's car breaking down. No guilt trips dressed up as family tradition. She doesn't blow up my phone. Doesn't expect me to fix her life. It's just peace. And peace, I've learned, is worth a hell of a lot more than love built on obligation. I picked up home brewing. Started learning to weld at the local tech college. Not for work, just because I wanted to. My condo smells like hops and metal half the time, and I love it. Nobody barges in. Nobody leaves crap on my property. Nobody asks for money. Sometimes I sit out on the balcony with a beer I made myself, thinking about how different things feel now. Not better in some fairy tale way, just real, settled, mine. Looking back, I don't regret a damn thing. I didn't yell. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I just stopped giving. That's it. They called it heartless. I call it peace.